Is the market currently being driven by the prospect of tax reform?
I would say that the hope for tax reform has certainly been underpinning the market since the election. The reality is it's much more of a vague notion, I think, than we actually see. I mean, I'll leave it to people who are much more politically plugged in or astute than I am to really assess that. But a lot of what I'm hearing is that this can be a very difficult thing to get enacted before year end. I know that Mnuchin did allude to the fact that going retroactive to the beginning of the year could be on the table. That would certainly be something very important for the market to hang its hat on. But there's just so much that Congress has to do between now and then, including the debt ceiling, which was helpful when it was moved to December in the short term, but all it does is kicks the can only 3 months down the road. There's a lot to play out with taxes, and that are very complicated. I would say it's there in the backdrop. I think people are very hopeful about it, but I'm not sure where the evidence comes in. One other thing to keep in mind is if one of the hopes that people have is for a reduction in the capital gains rate, that actually can have a negative short-term impact when it's enacted and when it comes into play. The reason for that would be if you think or know that there's a capital gains tax cut coming, you're incentivized to hold off your sales for the fact that you'll actually pay less in taxes when the gains tax is lower. So what sometimes you see is that the market has a bit of a short-term sell-off after a capital gains tax cut. It's not necessarily a long-term factor, but a short-term factor, because all of a sudden, if you're incentivized to pay a few percentage points less in your capital gains, you'll hold out until that date occurs. So that's something to keep an eye on. But again, there's so much talk and there's so little clarity. I would say it's a reason for hope, but not necessarily a factor in the immediate sense.